saw Zach LaVine light him up, then Giannis, and then Jason Tatum. Tonight it's their #1 guy, Jeremy Grant. Stewart and LeBron. Stewart is hot, and everybody's coming out now.
Now this is ridiculous. Yeah, he must have caught an elbow or something, but
oh yeah, he's got a lot of blood streaming from the side of the eye. Look, here goes Stewart.
yeah.
Baseball foul by Isaiah Thomas, like Stewart. There's then a flagrant foul penalty 2, resulting in the ejection of LeBron James.
For LeBron James.
What's going on, dudes and dudettes? So, yes, of course, weekend started off well with the Celtics beating the Lakers in Boston. Jason Tatum, of course, the Duke product. He was struggling the past couple weeks, and then, of course, once he plays the Lakers, he gets all amped up because he really knows he wants to play for them, but they stupidly did not draft him that year. Instead, they got Lonzo Ball, and of course, he dropped 37 points, 11 rebounds, had a double-double, and a victory. So, yeah, I'm not going to show any highlights from that stooge game. And then, yes, the Lakers beat the Pistons last night, Sunday night, but it came at a cost because when both LeBron and player from the Pistons, Isaiah Stewart, were going for a rebound, LeBron kind of went like this. It first looks like he did an elbow to the other player's face, LeBron does, but I think it was more of like this part of the hand and arm area. But either way, it was still a bad play. I'm pretty sure he was trying to box out, or maybe some other stuff was happening during the game. I did not get to watch the full game, just the highlights and what happened in that part. But from what it looks like, they were semi going back and forth, or a lot of Lakers players were going against him and actually doing very well against that one player, Isaiah Stewart, but maybe motions overblown. But as you can tell from that video, yeah, and he's every like other couple seconds, he tried to go after and run after LeBron and try to fight him, I guess. I don't know, but all players, coaches, his teammates, security people all got in front of him and trying to keep him away, even though while at the time he's bleeding like crazy. But yes, nothing had happened. He did run off, as you see too, from the court once he officially got taken out. But yeah, other than that, so far we did find out today that they were both suspended, at least a game. I know LeBron got a 1-game suspension for what he did. He won't play against the Knicks tomorrow, but the other player got a 2-game suspension because he was escalating and trying to make it worse, more than what it was, apparently, according to the NBA. So, yes, luckily the Lakers got the victory. They feel good after the fact that they were able to come back. They were down by like 15, 17 points in that game and still came back and won without LeBron. Yeah, overall, I guess you could take it as a positive. Everybody kept saying LeBron's not a dirty player. It was a pretty weird move. It kind of seemed intentional by LeBron, but you never know. So yeah, crazy moment, a lot of blood, but hopefully that player gets better. And yeah, it's just a 1-game suspension. It wasn't anything too serious, I guess, that the NBA thought, but we'll see how it goes the next time they play each other. Should be very interesting. And for USC, 3-star Northern California defensive end Devin Tompkins has committed to USC football. Never really heard much about him. He is a 3-star, but he has the body prototype. He is 6'6", already over 200 plus pounds. So once he starts adding more muscle and strength, he should be able to fill out that body as a defensive end. But I don't know how good he really is or not. Didn't get to watch the highlights or anything like that. But must be pretty talented if they're going after him. But once again, USC in recruiting getting a 3-star type of guy, which isn't fun, but I don't know. Maybe he will turn into something good, hopefully. Then Devin Brown, Dave Aranda. He's a head coach right now for the Baylor Bears. The past 2 seasons, he was a defensive coordinator for LSU when they won the championship a few years back. But he's been getting a lot of noise and like a lot of both actual colleges in the Pac-12, USC and the University of Washington are looking to hire him or are very intrigued by what he's been doing out there in Texas and Baylor. And, you know, he was a guy I was interested in maybe as a dark horse candidate a couple years ago when he was available and looking to get a head coaching job after that championship win. But he was pretty far on my list just because I thought it was pretty quickly that he would have gotten a job. He's done a pretty good job so far with Baylor. I mean, it's not that tough to have a good record against crappier Big 12 teams who don't play defense, and he's a defensive-minded guy, so if he coaches that, your team should be better. But yeah, I mean, I believe he did get the upset. They did beat Oklahoma a week or 2 ago, so that's definitely a criteria. That's why I like Matt Campbell a lot from Iowa State, also in the Big 12, because he's beaten teams like that pretty handily and did a lot of shocking upsets, while at Iowa State, when you're not getting as good of players like Oklahoma does, and you still beat them every other year. So if he could do that at USC, that's why I like him. Dave Aranda, he is showing he can be a pretty good, consistent head coach now. So maybe he could bring that mentality to Southern California. You never know. But I'm pretty sure he's on the short list for head coaching, for the head coaching position at USC right now. And then their 4-star quarterback commit from Utah, Devin Brown. He recently played this last weekend in the championship game in Utah. I believe his team lost by 7, which sucks. But after that game, he almost threw for 400 yards, a couple touchdowns, and he set the all-time Utah passing record out there, which is pretty crazy of all time. So, I mean, that's good for him. I know it's going to get even more eyes on him that already have been getting on him and trying to take him away from USC's commitment, but hopefully that does not happen. And then touch on it for a very quick second. Yes, USC did get demolished by UCLA. It's I think it was the highest point total that a UCLA team has ever scored. I think this first time they ever scored over 50, and they ended up getting 62 to 33. Final score, USC just defensively looked horrible most of the game, never made any corrections, and I was still surprised even later that Saturday night that Todd Orlando, the defensive coordinator, was still on, the payroll for USC because of how bad USC has been, especially while at home on defense. They've been giving up historically bad numbers. This is one of the worst records at the Coliseum for USC. I mean, it's just crazy how all these teams come into the Coliseum, their hometown, and they, beat them sensibly, and the defense has no answer for them. So, yes, they did lose, did suck, but try to get on some more positive news, I guess. Then Shohei Ohtani of the LA Angels of Anaheim, whatever they call him now, he did win the AL MVP, which is pretty cool for him. Nice that a SoCal guy, at least from one of these teams, is winning an award. Maybe we can see if they can try to entice him to stay. I know probably has one more year on that deal. But yeah, he's probably considered one of the better players as of right now statistically. But we'll see what he can do when hopefully Mike Trout is healthier next year. Because if those two guys are healthy, that team should be a playoff team no matter what. But it is the Angels. There's a lot of bad luck for them with injuries for some reason. Then, yes, Duke basketball. So last week, one of the later games that week, they did play against Lafayette. And once again, it was close in the first half. They're only winning by around 10 points, if not a little bit less at halftime. And I wasn't worried at all, but it just was kind of wondering when they were going to turn it up. And luckily they did. They ended up getting the victory 88-55. The other highly talented freshman, AJ Griffin, went off finally in garbage time. He had like 18 points, was named ACC Freshman of the Week as well last week. So that's pretty cool for him. At least he says he's starting to feel a lot closer to what he was in high school and before his injury, close to 100%. So that's definitely a good thing to have. I know he's coming off the bench right now, but if he's going to be in the starting lineup for Duke, they could be pretty unstoppable, in my opinion. And I know they're in a pretty good matchup against the Citadel right now. But once again, it's the first half and it's close, but we'll see how that turns out in the next video later in the week. But yeah, I'm pretty sure they're going to get that victory because the Citadel is one of the worst teams out there. But for some reason, it's close, but we'll see. Then the Chargers defensive tackle Linval Joseph was recently put on the COVID-19 list, and I believe he is unvaccinated as well. So no matter what, he is going to miss 10 days, and which sucked already because he missed the last game last night against the Steelers already with a shoulder injury. So now that's already one missed game, and then he's automatically going to miss this next Sunday against the Denver Broncos. But because unvaccinated, and hopefully there's enough negative tests consecutively, then he can play in the week after. But a little bit of bright news before the game last night, against the Steelers, the Chargers did get back defensive end Joey Bosa and linebacker Drew Tranquill, who came off the COVID-19 list. So that was at least some positivity that they had some of their defensive players while the Steelers didn't. And getting to that matchup, yes, it was a Chargers victory. They did beat them. I believe the final score was 41-38. It was a 3-point game, something like that, I believe. But I mean, at some point, it was a pretty last-second field goal. But once again, the Chargers had a 2-score lead, almost 3-score lead at one point, and they let the team get into it. I know I was with my family watching it, and they're like, hey, you should be happy. They're up 14 plus. I'm like, no, it's the Chargers. It's prime time. You just got to wait for it to happen. And one score here, one score there. At one point, it was tied up. And at one point, the Steelers had it to be able to go up, from being tied, I believe. And yes, luckily that did not happen. The Chargers defense did step up there. But I don't know who's to blame because the defense gave up the scores, but the offense for the Chargers did not do anything to add to that, point total while they still had the lead. So it was once again another Chargers thing where now they're on the plus side of winning close games within 3 or 7 points. But once again, it could have very easily been a loss, and you would have lost to a team that doesn't have their best defensive player and their second defensive player and a couple other guys that were out offensively as well. And you were at home and you still almost lost. But the coach seemed happy and more cheerful about it than more positive than I was. So maybe it is a good thing. We'll find out. I believe they're right now like some of the last wild card spots in the playoffs. They moved ahead of Pittsburgh, so they're at least in there. I don't think they're ahead of Kansas City yet. They don't have enough divisional wins, but with playing Denver, it's a divisional game. So if you get that, they're opening up as favorites as well in Vegas already. So they should get the victory. But you never know. It is Denver. So looking forward to that this weekend or whatever it is. But yeah, Herbert, he was great. I have my dislikes about him, and he's pretty inconsistent when it comes to certain times of the game, and then he steps up, and he's inconsistent but steps up. I don't know what to think of him. A lot more people like him than I do, but yeah, he did throw for 328 passing yards, which is pretty good, but also he finally used his legs. He, for some reason, had not been doing it, but they gave him so much open space. He had 93 yards rushing as well. They had 3 touchdowns altogether, and it was a pretty good game for him. Even Austin Eckler, the running back, had a 4-touchdown game, so he finally woke up officially. But yeah, a lot of times they got in close and just gave it to him, and he got it within 5 to 10 yards pretty easily for him. So that's good to see. Yes, they did get the victory, which I guess all that matters in the end. I can tell other stuff that's happening during the game that maybe many other people aren't seeing. I am still kind of nervous about them getting into the playoffs. You know, hopefully they have a good matchup. Hopefully they do win the division. But of course, Kansas City got the victory yesterday as well, so they're right there on pace with the record. Raiders did lose and Denver did not play, so they're still above those two teams, but it's still pretty close overall in that division, as it usually is. But now, of course, now Kansas City's involved. Usually they're way ahead of us in wins, total wins, but now it's all together. So it's going to make this rest of the season go down to the wire, which sucks, but hopefully positive. So yes, thanks for watching, people. Like and subscribe, comment down below. Let me know what y'all think. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.